Good morning, everyone. Myself Vrushali Aire. Welcome you all in the next social science revision session. In the month of April, you learnt geography first chapter. So, now in this session, we are going to summarize this first chapter. So, our textbook name is Resources and Development. Mahatma Gandhi said that there is enough for everyone's need and not for anybody's greed. So nature gives us lot of things. Through that we can live our life happily. No need to be a greedy people. So we have enough all the type of resources. So with that great thought, we will start our chapter. Resources. So let me tell you one thing, students. You know, in your surrounding area, water, electricity, rickshaw, vegetable, and textbooks, they have something common. They have all been used by you. Yes, in daily life we are using that. And they have utility, means we can use it, and which makes an object or substance a resource. Yes, means everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resource. So here I want to tell you the definition. What definition says? Everything which is available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs. Water, electricity, rickshaw, vegetable, textbooks, that all are satisfying our needs. Some are technologically accessible, some are economically, some are culturally. So all that term is called resource. That resource have some value, means worth, means importance, and some resources have economic value and some do not have. For example, we can say metal. Metal may have an economic value, beautiful landscape may not. Definitely metal we can buy, we can purchase it. It will be decorative, it can be attractive, but we cannot say economic value to the landscape. But both are important and satisfy human needs. Metal we can use, we can wear, we can use for our daily needs, and landscapes that also satisfy human needs for settlements, for farming, etc. So some resources can be economically valuable with time. While time changes, it may change that value. You know that your grandmother's home remedies have no commercial value today, but if they are patented and sold by a medical firm tomorrow, they could become economically valuable. At the time of particular condition, a harsh condition, it can be economically valuable. Yes, interdependent relationship. We can say that Nature is related to technology, human beings, institution. You can say how nature can be related with institution or technology. Yes, in the next few pages we are going to learn that. We are going to summarize that. Time and technology are two important factors that can change substances into resources. Both are related to the needs of people, and people themselves are the most important resource. It is their ideas, knowledge, inventions, discoveries that lead to the creation of more resources. Each discovery or inventions, we can say, leads to many others. The discovery of fire led to the practice of cooking and other processes, while the inventions of the wheel ultimately resulted in development of newer modes of transport. Through that, we can say that technology is also most important, and the technologically to create hydroelectricity has turned energy in fast flowing water into an important resource. So technology through human beings we can connect to the institution. Next slide. Now there we are. Types of resources. Basically there are two types: natural resource and human resource. Through this flowchart you will come to know all the details regarding resources. In the natural resource there are two subtypes: renewable and non-renewable resources. In the renewable, continuous and biological, and through that natural vegetation and wildlife. And in the non-renewable, non-recyclable or recyclable resources. And in the human resources, structures and institution, and quantity and quality, that both are there. So one by one we are going to revise it. Natural resources. In the pictures you can easily you can observe that all these are natural resources, though it will be the forest, it will be the aquatic animals, farms, minerals, animals, all that are natural resources. So resources that are drawn from nature and used without much modification are called natural resource. The air we breathe, the water in our rivers and lakes, the soils, minerals are all natural resources. Many of these resources are free gifts of nature and can be used directly. In some cases, tools and technology may be needed to use a natural resource in the best possible way. So, we can say natural resources also gift of nature. So, as earlier I said that you have seen paper pattern, so you can be a question like that: why natural resource called gifts of nature? So now you are able to write the answer. Natural resources are classified into different groups depending upon their level of development and use, origin, renewability and distribution. Fine. So natural resources are now classified into different groups depending upon their level of development and use, origin, stock, distribution. On that basis there are actual resource and potential resource. And in that some subtopics will be there. So actual resources are those resources whose quantity is known. Okay, quantity, how much it can be, in this way. These resources are being used in present. The rich deposits of coal in Ruhr region of Germany and petroleum in the West Asia, the dark soil of the Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra are all actual resources which are actually established, actually exist over there. And potential are those whose entire quantity may not be known, and these are not being used at present. Actually we are unknown about that, and it is not used at the present moment. These resources could be used in the future. Maybe the level of technology we have at the present may not be advanced enough to easily utilize the resources. So we can say that if we have to differentiate between actual and potential resource, we can say actual resources, listen carefully children, those resources whose quantity is known, and potential, those resources whose entire quantity may not be known. This will be the difference. Second one will be resources are being used in present, and potential resources are not being used at present and could be used in future. And examples, you can say that coal of Germany, petroleum in the West Asia. And for a potential resource we can say example the uranium in Ladakh. Okay, so based on their origin, resources can be again classified: biotic resources, abiotic resources. Again two divisions will be there: biotic resources and abiotic resources. So differentiation between biotic resource and abiotic resource will be: abiotic resources are non-living while biotic resources are living. Very simple. You can say soils, rock, minerals are abiotic, but plants, animals are biotic resources. Easy, very easy to understand. So here you can easily examine that biotic resource and abiotic resource. Biotic resource, it includes all living things, for example plants and animals. And abiotic resource, it includes all non-living things, for example soil, rocks and minerals. Yes. Now next slide. Yes. So natural resources can be broadly categorized into again two resources on the basis of renewability. We can is that renewable or non-renewable? The two types are there. So first one is renewable. Renewable resources are those which get renewed or refill quickly, replenished. Some of these are unlimited and are not affected by human activities, such as solar and wind energy. Yes. We can say water seems to be an unlimited renewable resource, but shortage and drying up the natural water source is a major problem actually in many parts of the world today. And non-renewable means what? Non-renewable resources are those which have a limited stock. Once the stock are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed or refilled. Since this period is much more than human lifespan. Such resources are considered non-renewable. Coal, petroleum, natural gas will be the examples of that resources. So if we have to differentiate in a simple language, what we can say, renewable resource, those which can get renewed or replenished quickly are called renewable resource, and that resource also called inexhaustible resource. For example, solar and wind energy. And non-renewable, those which have a limited stock. Once the stocks are exhausted, it may take thousands of years to be renewed, are called non-renewable. And that resource is also called exhaustible resource. For example, coal, petroleum, natural gas. Now, on the basis of distribution, natural resources can be classified into again two resources. Which are they? Let's see. That are ubiquitous resource and localized resource. So resources that are found everywhere, like the air we breathe. So everywhere we can breathe, air we can found. So that type of resources are called ubiquitous resource. But those which are found only in certain places are localized resource, like copper or iron ore. Okay, so the distribution of natural resources depends upon number of physical factors like terrain, climate, altitude, and the distribution of resources is unequal. Obviously, why? Because these factors differ so much over the earth. So that was all about the first one, natural resource, and their classification of remaining resources according to distribution, according to renewability, according to their development, etc. Now we are going to see the second resource, that is human resource or human made resources. Sometimes student, natural substances become resources only when their original form has been changed. Okay, and people can make the best use of nature to create more resources when they have the knowledge, skill, and the technology to do. So we can say man-made or human-made resources is defined as a resource created by humans. It does not occur naturally, and it produced and consumed by humans. Man-made resources are atoms or substances that have value to human lives that do not occur in the natural world. Examples of man-made resources are hospital, krishi bhavans, research centers, government agencies, non-government agencies, etc. So there are number of institutions made by man. Schools are there, which can be converted are resources for community based science learning process. So human resources refer to the number of quantity and ability, that will be the mental and physical ability of the people. And people means human resources refer to the number of ability of people. People can make the best use of nature to create more resources for their knowledge and skill, improving the quality of people's skill so that they are able to create more resources. Basically, that is known as human resource development. Got it? I am repeating, improving the quality of people's skill so that they are able to create more resource is known as human resource development. Now, there are again few classifications are there in the human resources or man-made resources. Let's see. Conserving resource. So, using resources carefully and giving them time to get renewed is called resource conservation. Conservation of resource refers to using natural resource carefully so that they could be renewed and continue to be used in future. We can use in future if we use it properly. For example, water. If you are using that natural resource carefully without wasting water, then in future it will be better for us only. We can renew it, we can use it. That is the conserving resource. We have to conserve that resource. And balancing the need to use resource and also conserve them for future is called sustainable development. Okay, so what is the sustainable development? It can refers careful utilizing resource. Which resource we are going to use carefully, we are going to utilize resource, and balancing the need to use resource and also conserve them for our future generation. It is our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable. We have to use it, reuse it. The diversity of life on the earth should be conserved. The damage of natural environmental system should be minimized. There are many ways of conserving resources, and each person can contribute by reducing consumption, recycling and reusing the things. So through that sustainable development, how we can improve the economic development which does not damage environment, at the same time takes care of needs of future generation, is called sustainable development. You can define in short. So why it is important? As we discussed earlier, many of the resources are non-renewable or exhaustible. Over exploitation of these resources will be affect the needs of our future generation, and environmental pollution has become a major threat to the survival of human being. Move towards next slide. Now resource conservation. Planned use of resource in order to meet the present needs and to store a part of future generation is called resource conservation. It is necessary because many resources are non-renewable and exhaustible, as we discussed, and we have to conserve them for the longer time. Conservation of resource help us to reduce wastage. It will help in economic progress, and resource conservation help us to protect the environment. So in short, we can sum up the sustainable development that it carefully utilizing resources so that besides meeting the requirements of the present also takes care of future generations. Now okay, to conserve that resources, but how we can plan it? Okay, let's see. So importance of resource planning, how we can plan it, how we can balance it. So actually some principles are there for to conserve all that resources. respect and care for all forms of life, then we can do improve the quality of human life, conserve the earth's vitality and diversity, minimize the depletion of nature resource, change personal attitude and practices towards the environment, enable communities to care for their own environment. Lots of two three stories are there. You have seen already, you have learned that story. Through that story also we can come to know that how and why we have to conserve the resource. So it is necessary for balanced development of India. Some regions of India are rich in certain resources and poor in some other resources. For example, we can say Rajasthan is poor in water resource but rich in solar and wind energy. Some regions are self sufficient while other regions are very poor in important resources. For example, Madhya Pradesh is rich in many resources but Ladakh is poor in resources. Wastage of resources can be avoided by planning. Yes, we have planned something, no? For example, if suppose you have to complete any type of study, any subject study, you at first planned. As in the interaction section, I told you how you can make notes, how you can plan it. So according to that, it can be applied for the resources as well. Then environmental pollution can be reduced. That is the most important thing. Lots of activity we did it last year to protect environment. We have conducted a activity and you have participated in that activity very well. Over exploitation of resources can be avoided. So through that we can plan accordingly and we can conserve or we can reduce exploitation of resources. So all that things were now related with the resources. So through that, now I hope you understood all the points which we summarized it. So basically the future of our planet and its people is linked with our ability to maintain and preserve the life of support system that nature provides. Therefore, it is our duty to ensure that all uses of renewable resources are sustainable, diversity of life on the earth is conserved, and third one is the damage of natural environment system is minimized. That will be the most important factors. Okay, so with the help of all that topics, small activities I am going to give you. I know we are staying at home. You will say, teacher, how we are going to do activities? But don't worry, you can do that all activities at your home itself. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's do. So what you have to do? First one is list out 5 resources you use in your home and 5 you can use in your classroom. Now I know you are missing your classroom, me too. So you just imagine, you just think about it, and you have to list out 5 resources that you can use in your home and 5 you can use in your classroom. Okay, so that can be natural or human made. And second one is List out 5 human made resources that you can observe around you. Okay, so I think first activity you are supposed to do natural resources, on the natural resources, and second one already it is given, human made resources. And you can write it on one page and list out that resources. So you are able to learn that whether you are understood that topic or not. Okay, so read that chapter twice, read it again if not understood, but don't leave a single line. Read it once again, line by line, and try to inculcate your own views. As earlier as I said, I told you how you are supposed to do notes. According to that, you can write it, that notes, prepare your own notes, do self study with the help of all that notes and lesson. According to that, you're able to solve all type of questions. And so if suppose you learned resource chapter, you cleared all points, all contents, so no need to worry about that. At the time of exam, you are able to solve any type of question. Fine. So these two activities now you are supposed to do. So thank you once again, students. Hope you understood this chapter once again. Hope you are healthy at your home. Do lots of study, lots of exercise, and stay happy, stay blessed, and complete activity as early as possible. Don't ignore it. So in the next session we are going to summarize politics first chapter, which you already learnt in month of April. Till then, bye and take care. Thank you.